Hey, what's up, guys? DFS Dudes here to present you my GPP core plays for today's slate. We have an enormous slate today. It's a full slate of games, and we'll get right into that. First things first, last night was an absolute catastrophe for our core. It just did not work out the way I anticipated working out. I took the risk with Valbuena. He came up with a goose egg. I really debated back and forth hard on the Brandon Nemo play and decided at the end of it not to go with him. I regret that seriously. And the main factor I did that was the left-on-left matchup. But a point to that is a process and sticking to the process in order to be successful at that, at this GPP DFS game. You got to have a process. You got to stick to it. And there's going to be nights where the results of that may not work out, but it's not a sign for you to get off the process. We've got a solid foundation that we make our picks from. We do a lot of research. So we'll move on to tonight. Getting right into it, it is a full slate. There is Coors Field on the slate once again today. A couple of things that hit right off the bat. There's some weather concerns. There's probably going to be a delay, maybe a PPD chance. There's a little risk in Cincinnati with the Detroit-Cincinnati game. Watch that. The Dodgers and Cubs, they should be clear for Game 2. I don't foresee, based on what I'm looking at with the weather, that they'll get any rain in game. And then you've got the Mets at Colorado. Just watch that. It's a bit like last night. I read that there was a hailstorm about 15 to 20 miles yesterday from the stadium. Right now, I'm looking at the weather, and it doesn't look like there's anything that's going to pop up over the stadium. But again, just a place that you want to be aware of the weather situations. There's some weather advantages to look at. It's 87 degrees in that Cincinnati game, and that's part of the reason why there's a threat for rain, obviously, with the humidity. You've got Pittsburgh, it's 80 degrees. That is a pitcher-friendly ballpark, a little warmer weather, and a couple of decent matchups in that. Not a bad spot to look at. And then Texas at Kansas City, 86 degrees first pitch. The wind is blowing out, and we do have a piece from that game in our core. So let's get right into the core. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to throw in a pitcher for tonight, and I'm going to throw in Domingo German as a core piece. And the reason I'm going to do that, if we take a look at his game log, he's been outstanding in his last two starts. 49 and 40 points respectively, 10 Ks, 9 Ks. He got a win. He got a quality start in both. Tampa Bay's pesky. I called it yesterday. I said that maybe stack up Tampa Bay and Chicago, the White Sox, in the GPP because they're pesky teams. Nobody will own them. Tampa Bay comes right out last night against Garrett Cole, one of the top pitching options on the board, and what do? They put up runs. So don't overlook that Tampa Bay game thinking, oh, well, it was against Tampa Bay. Here's the thing with why I've got Herman on a core play today. Strikeout upside and price. It's a tournament play. You're getting a discount, basically. If you look at the discount you're getting between the upside of a Verlander and a Sale at 11.5 and 11.4 respectively, you're getting the same type of strikeout upside with Herman for 7,600. With Coors Field on the slate, this to me, I'm willing to take this kind of a risk for the upside that he brings to allow me to fit some bigger bats in. And the first bat that we're going to fit in is Mike Trout. For no other reason are we paying up for Mike Trout than the fact that he's absolutely on fire. Over his last 7 games, he's 13 for 19. 13 for 19, 8 walks, 2 bombs. He is absolutely on fire, and I'm willing to pay up to get exposure tonight against a really weak pitcher in Arizona. The next play we'll go to is Joey Gallo, another guy that I just feel he gives us upside. He has double dong potential. He's $3,000. He's in a warm environment against a bad pitcher. And I think that with Coors on the slate, what we're trying to do is get exposure to Coors with this core play. Coors exposure always makes it difficult because it's a high implied run total, obviously, and you've got 2 bad pitchers. If you think about it, 2 gas cans are going in that game tonight. There's going to be runs scored. You got 6.5 as a high implied total for Colorado, and then the second highest implied total is the Yankees. Behind them is the Mets at 5.1. So you've got an 11.6 implied run total for that Colorado game. You've got to find a way to get some exposure. So we have to find a way to get value in other spots tonight. Joey Gallo at 3,000, just too cheap for me. I'm going to go ahead and throw him in that core piece. Another guy extremely cheap that I'm going to put in our core tonight is Brandon Guyer. Brandon Guyer is hitting fifth at $2,100. The thing about Brandon Guyer is he's leading the Indians in ISO against left-handed pitching. 255 ISO against left-handed pitching. He's hitting fifth, perfect RBI spot. Guys get on base in front of him. They'll have the opportunity to drive in runs, and with that high ISO, you know he's hitting for power. So another guy that gives us an opportunity to go get a guy in a really good spot who's got really good numbers and gives us the salary relief we need to go ahead and move up and get some bigger bats and some exposure in that Colorado game if need be. Another guy that I'm going to play tonight as my BVP play is Orlando Arcia. $2,000. He gives us all the salary relief we need. And if you look right there, we're at $37.25 is what we've got left to spend across the remaining positions here with our core. Plenty of room to get guys. Like if you look at the Mets, they're going against German Marquez. He's 4-7 with a 5.13 ERA on the season. At home, he's 1-4 with like a 7.71 ERA. He doesn't pitch well in that ballpark. Combine that with the Mets with a 5.1 implied run total. You've got to find ways to get exposure to that game. And there are guys. Brandon Nimmo at 4,000 is the highest price Met. Conforto's below 4,000. Frazier's below 4,000. Rosario's all the way down at around 3,000. Asdrubal Cabrera, they're all below $4,000. Mesoraco, with a huge game last night, below 4,000 and in reasonably fair price range, allowing you to fill up the rest of your roster tonight with pieces from that game. And then you've got the other side of it where if you look at who's pitching for the Mets are throwing an absolute gas can as well. And Vargas is not a good pitcher. He's been lit up this year. It's been, you've got Trevor Story who matches left-handed pitching, and you've got Nolan Arenado. If you can try and fit one of these pieces in with some value around it, which you've got more than enough room to do that with, you're sitting in a good spot with good exposure across the board. Excuse me. The Arcia play at 2,000. Here's the deal with him, right? Looking at the numbers, 6 for 15, 3 home runs, a double, and 8 RBIs versus Arcia. And that's why I'm throwing him in as my BVP play. So here we go, guys. We got Herman, Arcia, Mike Trout, Joey Gallo, Brandon Guyer. That makes up our core, and it allows us to go ahead and get some other pieces, some bigger bats, and some higher exposure to some more exposure to the Coors Field game if you want to go ahead and do that. As always, thanks for checking out the video. Thanks for being a member of the site. Let's keep it cashing, guys. See you tomorrow.